And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video game review, and this is of Spongebob SquarePants Planktons Robotic Revenge. It was released back in 2013, so it's about 10 years old now at the time of making this. It was released on multiple consoles: the Xbox 360, the PS3, I even believe the Wii U, because I was out at the time. I played this on the 3DS, though. Played the 3DS version. So that's what I'm going to be giving my experience with this game off of, is that I'm playing on 3DS. Disclaimer. And I gotta say, this was a pretty fun game, all things considered. This was the second game in my backlog that I played for the 3DS behind Chibi Robo. And this game was much better than Chibi Robo. It was much shorter than Chibi Robo. 15 levels, which included the 3 boss battles. The levels were pretty nice. They were shorter. They were still, a few of them were still a little long, I thought. They went on for a little too long. You could tell that, especially later in the game. But overall, I mean, there was a good amount of stuff to do in the levels, and it didn't really affect the game too much. I can understand why they did that, so they're fun to play, what I say. Before you boot up this game, though, and you go in the pause menu when you boot up the game, there's a cheat menu. Again, what is with the cheats? I don't understand. This game, like, if I can Wreck-It Ralph, okay, this is my third game in the backlog. Let's forget about Wreck-It Ralph. But why do these have a cheat menu? Why do you need cheats? Like, who are you gonna play when you're cheating? Like, 6? Like, what the hell? It just annoyed me. The storyline's also pretty dumb. It's basically that somebody, a ship guy or a ship worker, dropped some like batteries into the ocean that landed right in front of the chum bucket. Plankton took them and made robots out of them to try and steal the formula, and then like they have to go find these keys, because Mr. Krabs hid these keys and he doesn't remember where, and then the map gets stolen. It's just very dumb storyline. It's just like forced problems that need to move the story along, like the map just getting stolen out of midair because he decides to whip it out right in front of Plankton, with the different keys and the safe and whatnot. It just felt a little weird. For me, but you know, it's not that big a deal. It's just kind of a dumb plot line, but I guess you have to expect that with a game like this. Now, the combat in this game, I was kind of surprised. The combat in this game is really good for what it is. You know, it's nothing. It's a SpongeBob game for children. It's nothing special. So it's not like great, but it's fun, it's easy to understand, and it's effective. Of course, you have the melee combat. You can do a ground pound, smash, or there's gizmos, which are just guns, and you can use the guns. All three are pretty effective at what they do. But yeah, and then there's some that you have to use a certain kind of attack for a certain kind of enemy. But most of the time, you can just use the gun, and they're the most effective. The boss battles, I thought, had very little originality. There's 3 of them in the game, like I said. You fight 2 of Plankton's cousins, and then you fight Plankton himself. And they're all the same structure. You get on this platform, and then there's the big robot that Plankton made, controlled by one of the 3 people, or Plankton things at this point. And they all have the same attacks. They either shoot bombs at you, and you gotta avoid them. They shoot lasers, and you gotta avoid them. Sometimes there's a constant stream of laser, and you gotta jump over it. Sometimes they'll drop bombs out of the sky, and you'll have to avoid where they hit. That's the entire boss battle. And then you gotta shoot them in the eye when their eye is open, and get their health bar down, and that's it. Like, that's the entire thing for all the bosses. They're not hard, and they did have a little bit of originality, especially Plankton's, because you have to kill him twice to win, which threw me off big time. I did not expect that. And also, he does some hand slap attacks, which the other 2 don't do, but the first 2 are very similar. Let's take that. Again, It's not a huge deal, but it's just something that I noticed while playing the game. The gizmos, what they're really guns, but they're called gizmos, like a not popsicle, pickle one, pie one, a tartar sauce one, and then one I never used, so I don't remember what it's called. They're good weapons. You get upgrades for them, and you can upgrade them really quickly, like through the first couple levels. If you collect all the they're not coins, but they're like parts and pieces that you can then put into upgrading the weapons. I didn't really see any much effectiveness in upgrading the weapons. I'm sure there is. I didn't see really much of a major uptick in how effective they were, though. You can upgrade each 3 times. And like I was halfway through the game and they were all upgraded, and I just used the tartar sauce one, or I tried to. I mean, I probably ended up using the pickle one the most, because they never really, it doesn't give you a clear indication of how to select them. So yeah, take that into effect. But they're not, like I said, the gizmos are not very different from each other. They're not at all. They all shoot. I think there's a pie one. That one, I think, is different. I never used it because I think it shoot bombs and like a sticky grenade sort of thing. But like most of them, they're pretty similar in how they work. I think what comes out of them is different, and I think how much it takes to upgrade them is different. I think it's really all different. You also get different characters to play as. There's SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, Sandy, and Mr. Krabs. You can play as any of those 5. I played as SpongeBob. I was hoping to maybe be able to switch between characters as levels went on and maybe play all the characters. I couldn't figure out how to do that. It would only let me keep playing as SpongeBob throughout the rest of the game. So be warned, if you want to play as a certain character, select that one at the beginning, because you might not get a chance to switch. You probably can. I couldn't figure it out, just like I couldn't figure out how to switch the gizmos. Because every time there'd be a, like midway through the level, you'd have a chance to pour all the stuff you got and upgrade your weapons. And then it says you could switch. At least it looked like you could switch. But like, I couldn't figure out how. So it seems like it always gave me the pickle one. Let's keep that in mind. If you know how to do that, though, let me know in the comments down below if you know how to do that to play this game. A lot of the ways to progress in the levels, you have to open a gate, and there's 2 ways you do that. One, you have to defeat a certain amount of enemies, like defeat all the enemies in like that room, and then the gate just opens. Or you shoot a battery, like a power source, break that, gate opens. Or you have to press buttons. And later in the game, you'll find a lot of the buttons will have a certain pattern that you gotta do. Like, there usually be 2 or 3 buttons. But there's a certain way you gotta press them in order for them to stay pressed and unlock the gate. But it's pretty dumb because, one, they don't tell you that. Like, sometimes they'll be covered. And then, like, they'll open as you press buttons. That makes sense. It's also a little unnecessary for why, but I understand. That makes sense, at least. It doesn't make sense when you're like, you have a button, and you go over to the first one over here, but it doesn't work. So you have to start in the middle, go to this one, and go back over. It doesn't tell you have to do that. It doesn't, like, give any reason for it. So since the buttons stay pressed once you press them in the correct time, there's only one button sequence that I remember that was time sensitive, and that was only 2 buttons. So it's pretty dumb, I thought. You can't. And now, one of my biggest complaints about this game is the amount of enemies that you gotta fight in the game. I'm not talking about the bosses. I'm just talking about the regular enemies in the game. There's way too many. There's way too many enemies in this game. And like I said, most times you're gonna have to defeat all the enemies in that, like, a certain platform or room or whatever. They're a great way to get stuff to upgrade your gizmos. But you can break chests, so you don't have to. That's not the main reason to do them. The main reason is so that you can unlock gates and progress in the damn level. And it's really annoying because there'll be like 6 waves of just stuff, and they'll just throw it all at you at once. You got guys spinning at you. You got like 3 things shooting at you. You got a bunch of little robots running around. And the gun's pretty effective at getting them all. The only one the gun can't get is the ones that spin. You got to jump on those and press them. It can get the rest though, so it's not that big a deal. But my lord, there's a lot of enemies. Like that's way too much. They're at every corner too. Kill a bunch, move on. There's more. Kill a bunch, move on to the next platform. Like jump up. There's more. And it really sucks because you can't really enjoy the scenery of this game. Not like it's like super extraordinary settings or whatnot. There's like jellyfish fields, rock bottom, and one other place I can't remember. So it's not like there's a great scenery. It's cool looking though. I'd like to at least enjoy the music that they have. I'd like to at least enjoy the scenery. But you can't, because every time enemies come along, they play a whole new soundtrack. And you gotta kill them all, because they're right in front of you. They'll kill you. So, it's just way too much, in my opinion. It gets annoying very fast, especially when you don't need to upgrade anything anymore, like everything's fully upgraded. It just becomes a nuisance at that point. And yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my full notes on Planktons Robotic Revenge. My final score for this game, probably have to give it a 7 out of 10. I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. For what it is, it's a fun game. It's a short game. You can easily do it in a day if you got the time. And you got the battery. 3DS battery. But still pretty good. But if you ever played this game, though, I'd like to know your thoughts about it in the comments section down below. If there's anything I missed, let me know about that. And what games you like me to play next? I'd like to know. Let me in the comment section down below. That's going to do it for this game review. Stay tuned for other much more amazing content. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.